Anaesthetists, drunk vials, the rain, ammonia. Buds will burst their altered drug excretion, lapsed in inks. Birds and nitrogen, at risk of infection, weave a canopy of hepatitis over the North Sea. A sinking wing, cerebrovascular accident, cut lip, nests on coastal station. No thread of ore for wet things, minnow density in August at locality 21. The rain, sun-bright post-operative nausea and vomiting into the treetops. This next piece is a collage of passages from Robert Burton's Anatomy of Melancholy with some other things interleaved. Granatus, a precious stone so called because it is like the kernels of pomegranate, an unperfect kind of ruby, it comes from Calicut. If hung about the neck or taken in drink, it much resisteth sorrow and recreates the heart. The same properties I find ascribed to the jacinth and topaz. They allay anger, grief, diminish madness, much delight and exhilarate the mind. Current psychopharmacological nomenclature remains wedded in an earlier period of scientific understanding, failing to reflect contemporary developments and knowledge, does not aid clinicians in selecting the best medication for a given patient, and tends to confuse patients by prescribing a drug that does not reflect their identified diagnosis, e.g. prescribe antipsychotics to depression. In the belly of a swallow there is a stone found called Chelidonius, which, if it be lapped in a fair cloth, and tied to the right arm, will cure lunatics, madmen, make them amiable and merry. Recently, new antidepressants were introduced into clinical use with a significant reduction in side effects and equivalent efficacy on mood disorders. These new drugs that are effective for chronic pain belong to the tetracyclic antidepressants group, amoxapine, meproteline, the serotonin and noradrenaline reuptake inhibitors group, duloxetine, venlafaxine, milnacipran, and the atypical antidepressants group, bupropion, trazodone, mirtazapine, nifazodone. There is a kind of onyx called the chalcedony, which hath the same qualities, avails much against fantastic illusions which proceed from melancholy, preserves the vigour and good estate of the whole body. I would argue that depression and subsequent suicides are a modern world problem for the same reason PTSD is, the liberal/cultural Marxist/degenerate worldview of a hugbox society of feel-good emotions and various other associated phenomena. Jesus is the cure for depression. He will give you beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for sadness. He is the creator of the mind. Studying the mind is okay, but it's more effective to study the designer. The ebonstone, which goldsmiths use to sleeken their gold with, borne about or given to drink, have the same properties, or not much unlike. The desire for death in terminally ill patients is associated with depression and anxiety, but not all patients who report it meet criteria for mental disorders. You hit right on the head, my nip friend. Clinical depression is a made-up disease by pansy white liberals to, as you say, pump up big pharma. It's like other postmodern diseases such as ADD, just some tard who can't pay attention, or chronic fatigue syndrome, some lazy-ass white liberal whining about how tired he is. Lavinius Lemnius, Institute ad Vit Cap 58, amongst other jewels, makes mention of two more notable, carbuncle and coral, which drive away childish fears, devils, overcome sorrow, and hung about the neck repress troublesome dreams, which properties almost Cardan gives to that green-coloured emetris, if it be carried about or worn in a ring, rueus to the diamond. Guns saved my life. Guns got me off drugs and booze. Guns make me happy. When I go to the range, it's just me and my guns. Among other changes, there was a corresponding increase in placebo-associated improvement with a decline in placebo dropout rate, mainly for lack of efficacy. Jacobus de Dondis, in his catalogue of simples, hath ambergris, os in corde cervi, the bone in a stag's heart, a monocerot's horn, the zoa's stone, of which elsewhere it is found in the belly of a little beast in the East Indies, brought into Europe by Hollanders and our countrymen merchants. And I'll conclude with another lyric. Pathogenicity Island, lone moon, coded virulence factors, fan, calm, ease, carried on plasmid or bacteriophage to cause disease. In groves of gene cassettes, a bard steps up to praise salmonella biofilm formation on plastic trays. Men chant in dens of ferns and dance by light of fire to the entero-hemorrhagic strains of gut-stringed lyre. A skyline of type 3 secretion systems, oil rigs, toll-like receptor-deficient mice and poisoned pigs. Transport proteins and carcasses float out on tides of aromatic hydrocarbons and herbicides. Thank you.